Speaking of the divide in this country, when it comes to racial divide, have you heard about this Concord neighborhood? A family with their child, a 3-year-old daughter, and every morning this 3-year-old daughter with her mother would write in chalk on a sidewalk outside their home in Concord, Black Lives Matter. And now you have this dope, this complete dope, his name is Jim, who took water and took the black out of the Black Lives Matter of the chalk that the 3-year-old just put on a sidewalk. We have audio of this. You want to talk about racial divide? You want to talk about buffoons? This guy is a buffoon. This is this Bay Area woman catching this white man. Yes, he was white. Shocker. Pouring water on the black in her young daughter's Black Lives Matter sidewalk chalk sign. Have a listen to this. It's unbelievable.
Mind your business. This is chalk on a sidewalk.
This is my neighborhood.
So what? You can ride up and down this neighborhood all you want to, but mind your business and leave this alone.
As long as you keep on doing this, I'll keep.
And I'll keep on doing it to prove a point. So if you want to waste energy sitting up here trying to erase the word black because it bothers you so much, I'm going to keep on writing it. And I'll have more surprises up my... We can't have a discussion.
Why?
Because you're bothering something that my daughter drew on the ground.
Do you know that Black Lives Matter is...
Black lives is matter, and I'm black, and you white, and you erasing the word black every time I write it on the sidewalk for Black Lives Matter.
And I'll continue.
What a dope. By the way, again, let me repeat this because this is very important. Her 3-year-old daughter, she was with her 3-year-old daughter. And I wonder if people on the right will say that her 3-year-old daughter is a Marxist who wants to overthrow the government. I'm wondering if people out there will say that about her 3-year-old daughter. This guy is a buffoon who won't mind his own business. And by the way, he responded on local TV. This guy, Jimmy, whatever the hell his name is, he responded on TV. I want you to have a listen to this. This is Jim responding on TV. This is the guy who took water and erased the black in Black Lives Matter when a mother and a 3-year-old daughter were putting it on a sidewalk. Have a listen to this idiot.
I was only pouring across the black because I believe in all lives matter. I don't care what nationality, sexual orientation, any of that. We're all human beings.
Yeah, I'm sure that's your logical explanation. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that you're not a racist.
Was this her property or was this public property, Brian?
It was my understanding is that it is a public sidewalk, and there's nothing against a public sidewalk with putting chalk that'll go away in a couple hours anyway. That they're not using spray paint, they're not defacing public property, they weren't breaking the law. And this guy, and see, this is my problem.
Okay, so if someone put Trump 2020 on a public sidewalk and an African American person who happens to be a supporter of BLM went and erased that, would you have the same outrage?
I'll speak for myself, and I'll speak for myself. I'm not a nosy piece of garbage.
No, I'm saying would you have the same outrage?
If a black person.
If there was a Trump 2020
sure, I'll answer
chalk
that.
on a public sidewalk, public property,
and
someone from BLM
I understand what you're saying.
decided to,
I understand.
We'll call it erase it, deface it, would we have the same reaction that you're having now?
I will honestly answer your question, but I will say this. Instead of you calling out this guy and saying what he did was wrong, why do you pose that?
No, I think it's totally. I think it's totally unnecessary what he did.
Okay, so why is that
I
the first thing that you say?
If you would be angry if the same thing happened.
I will answer
to
your
someone
question.
who had a Trump 2020.
I will answer your question.
We'll call it a young family and a 4-year-old. Like say my daughter. My daughter's 2 and 8 months old. If I was with my daughter on the sidewalk and I gave her chalk and she Trump 2020 something like that.
I understand
and that was the face and I made a big deal out of it. Would you have any sympathy for me under those circumstances?
I will answer your question.
Okay.
Even though they are two different circumstances. One circumstance has to do with race. Another circumstance has to do with politics. Now, if a black person went up to somebody with a child that was putting in chalk on a public sidewalk, Trump 2020, and this black individual took water, I would say that black person was extremely nosy. They should mind their own business and keep walking because that's going to cause confrontation, and it's wrong.
I'll agree.
But I would say what is worse is when a white person, because now there's race involved, a white person taking water and putting it over a Black Lives Matter sign, there's also race involved. That is political, which I would disagree with, but this is worse in my opinion. And the point I'm trying to make here is this. There are so many nosy, racist idiots out there. We see the Karens all the time. We see it every single day. And this guy says all lives matter. Yes, I'm sure he is for equality for minorities. Give me a break. This guy sounds like a complete dope. Let me ask you a question for all the listeners out there. If you saw a mother and her 3-year-old child on a sidewalk with chalk, writing down Black Lives Matter in chalk, not your personal property, would you have a huge issue with that? Would you be okay with a white person, going up to them and taking a bottle of water and taking the black out of the Black Lives Matter? Am I the only person that has an issue with this?